Salakia call came through. Anyway, so yeah, man, the Lord said He was gonna fill thee with He's gonna fill this place with men as caterpillars, and it's just my belief that even going back to 2023, when those troops or when you saw those men standing on a corner and stuff, they was getting those visas and shit like that, the cards with the money preloaded, and then inflation increased and people was complaining how these people was getting all that money, man. And I'm seeing a lot of different people in the neighborhoods. I got 3 people that moved downstairs less than a year. I thought they was, some Levites, some Haitians, because they probably Jakes, but, they may be like from Africa somewhere. I don't know, because they don't speak the language. But, I mean, who knows, man? They can be straight up paramilitary. We don't know. So things are getting ready to get real, real sticky. And I like to say that a lot, clearly, right? But anyway, let's go from here. And Salaki about that. I had to cut the video. Call had came through. It threw me off. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 6. Because TSA checkpoints, or checkpoints or military checkpoints is going to be a real thing. So you ain't going to be able to get from one province to the next because you're going to need the certain credentialing. And they're going to do it in a gradual phase. Because what I just found out is that Iran, they shut down all peace talks with America permanently. So they don't want no peace. They want war. They want blood, man. And allegedly they are targeting different tourist sites in different countries. So it ain't looking too good for Babylon, man. The Lord is getting ready to fold this fucking place up, finally, Jeremiah 6, and I'm going to start at verses 20. Let's start at 18. No, 19. It says, "Hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people." Talking about you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because remember, ICE was targeting Israelites. It says, "Even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor to my law, but rejected it." But it says, "To what purpose cometh to me in incense from Sheba, and the sweet cane from far country? It reads, your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices sweet unto me." So the Heavenly Father, man, He's not dealing with Jake's sacrifices, man. So all you Israelites out there that's talking about JC this, JC that, and you in a Christian church, Most High ain't hearing that. All right, you getting ready to find out that your beloved JC was never with you in the first place. So all the Sundays you done put in for the last 50 years was a straight waste of time, man. Y'all getting ready to find that out. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I will lay stumbling blocks before this people, and the fathers and the sons together shall fall upon them, and the neighbor and his friend shall perish. Yep. And thus says the Lord, behold, a people coming from the north country, a great nation should be raised from the sides of the earth, and they shall lay hold on bow and spear, and are cruel and have no mercy. And their voice roared like the sea, and they ride upon horses, set in array as men for war against thee, O daughter of Zion. Okay? So this military, man, these devils, they're just against you. Point blank, period. These devils are against you, man. All right. So anyway, let me play this other video real quick.
I have an IQ of 147. I'm 52.
Yeah.
And every day I ask myself, what is wrong with you? Gifted program at 12.
First, the TSA issues that we've seen other places. Well, they've finally arrived here in our area. Travelers at BWI Marshall Airport faced massive security lines and closed checkpoints yesterday. All of this happening because, of course, TSA staffing shortages due to the partial government shutdown. Now, to help get the lines moving, the White House says it is going to deploy ICE agents to some of the hardest hit airports. We've got team coverage on this for you this morning. John Rogers at the alert desk with the latest in the DHS funding fight. But we begin with John.
This ain't the time now to be going on any flights too. Taking planes. The traveling is getting ready to be shut down. I know brothers travel across the country from time to time to go see other brothers, but we coming into the time now that, hey, where you be is where you going to be at. So it'll be wise, when brothers are traveling, to be circumspect. If you can't go nowhere within driving distance, it's probably safe to not go. Like me, myself, I wanted to, go see brothers in different states and stuff like that. But if it ain't within 8 to 12 hours driving distance, then hey, fuck the plane. Hey, it ain't meant for me to go. And we got to think about that now because things are getting ready to get real things getting ready to get airtight.
Gonzalez at Reagan National with John, what this could mean for travelers and security. How are things looking so far there this morning?
That's right. And there has been, Adam, growing frustration at different airports around the country for the past
So this nigga's here, man.
several weeks now. Here at home, Reagan National, Dulles, BWI, all the local airports are advising travelers to arrive extra early. I just saw a note this morning from Baltimore saying 3 hours early if you can, as spring break travel picks up and uncertainty continues. President Trump is now raising the stakes, deploying ICE agents to airports as early as today. 14 different airports to start. It's unclear exactly which ones right now.
He says, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they would do security like no one has ever seen before. What that mean? Gestapo, bullying, harassing. TSA was already some dickheads, man. You know, which TSA is falsely. That was all implanted under the NDAA Act, bro. Like, there was no need for no. I mean, of course, you got to have airport security just by default, but the provisions they go, or the parameters they go to harass people, man, ain't nobody blowing no. Look, man, that whole war on terror was all bullshit. There's no fucking threat to this country, man. That was all done in-house to be forced to push the draconian laws that they pushing now. You know, they had several cases against them TSA back in the 2010s, maybe. People was like, man, they're the stop and frisk. You know, people was just feeling violated, man. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm just trying to get on a damn plane. Now airport security is hella tight. Like some Osama bin Laden. Ain't nobody. Look, now, I mean, you want the threat, but even then, you got to question if that's even the case, because we know that Esau was good for setting up attacks on his own soil. So it's a fucking joke, man. But you stupid people out there, you stupid Americans, you fall right for the okie doke and wonder why your ass is last on a IQ list, man, on an academic list. You people are stupid, and this is really judgment against you, man, because you don't do nothing, man.
Now, but in a post on Truth Social, he wrote, quote, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before. In a follow-up, he said he is making the move because Democrats are not allowing what he calls just and proper security. Now, the Department of Homeland Security says more than 400 TSA workers have quit since the partial shutdown began and warn more could be leaving. Supporters say shifting federal resources could help airports run. Critics, including Democratic leaders, though, call the idea reckless, warning ICE agents are not trained for TSA work.
Certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people.
And this dude is a damn devil, all right? Anybody that listens to this dude is a fucking devil.
Don't go through those exits, entering the airport through the exits, and that stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening and to reduce those lines. So wherever we can provide extra security, I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that.
Now, aviation and security experts also note while reassessing personnel has happened in emergencies before, replacing specialized TSA officers is not simple. And of course, on Capitol Hill, members of Congress will be back at the negotiating table, if you will, trying to figure this out this week. Reporting live at DCA, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
Happening tomorrow, the Trump administration says it is sending ICE agents to several U.S. airports if the partial government shutdown continues. This comes as long lines.
And we just say, look, we just say if they did fund the government, guess what? They're not getting up out of here. They're not going nowhere. When have they rarely ever redacted on some draconian? They rarely ever done it.
Airports all across the country. You see some of them behind me, from New Orleans to Georgia to New Jersey and Arizona. Glad you're with us tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Esteban. Today, the White House board czar confirmed President Trump's call to deploy federal agents to U.S. airports on Monday if a deal isn't reached to fund the Department of Homeland Security. The agents are expected to help with TSA staff shortages as TSA workers continue to work without pay. And while no TSA impacts at SeaTac airports so far, KOMO's Claire Weber heard mixed reaction tonight from local travelers there.
And I was nervous about it. I saw the news about Georgia, and It's horrible.
Travelers at SeaTac Airport are relieved to find short security wait times as TSA shortages plague other airports across the country.
Very much shorter. There's like almost no lines at all. So we're looking really good right now, I think, as far as TSA lines go.
To combat hours-long lines in places like Atlanta, Newark, and other cities, the Trump administration is sending ICE agents to some of the most short-staffed airports this week.
I don't see an ICE agent looking at an x-ray machine because they're not trained in that. There are certain parts of security that TSA is doing that we can move them off those jobs and put them in the specialized jobs, help move those lines.
Border Czar Tom Homan says ICE agents would likely assist with the airport's exit and entrance security, but some local travelers worry about the implications their presence may bring.
I think that's a terrible idea, and I think that it's really obviously unjust because there are people who, for very obvious reasons, wouldn't feel comfortable seeing ICE agents when they're traveling.
Meanwhile, as TSA officers stretch into another week without pay, other travelers say deploying additional federal agents is a smart move.
I think all the help that we can get is good. You know, I loved Elon Musk.
Yeah, they praying their own destruction. All right, well, it is what it is. And it says, we have heard the fame thereof, and our hands wax feeble. Anguish have taken a hold on us, and pain as a woman in travail. Go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy and fears on every side. So they're going to surround your neighborhoods eventually. Not saying ICE in particular, but that spirit of martial law is out here because the spirit of sedition is in the air. And it says, go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy and fears on every side. But, O daughter of my people, gird thee with sackcloth and swallow thyself in ashes. Make thee mourning as for an only son, most bitter lamentation, for the spoiler should suddenly come upon us. And that spoiler in modern day terms is Esau, the so-called white man. All right. Luke 23. And let's start at verses, Salakian, Luke 19 and 30. No, let's start at Luke 19 and 40. And it reads, and it says, and he answered and said to them, I tell you that if these people should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. And when he was come on near, he beheld the city and wept over it. Yahushua was talking about Israel. It says, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong to thy peace. But now they are hid from thy eyes. Yeah, because see, we warned Jake, and Jake took us lightly. So when we go out there to the streets and we're teaching and we're telling people or our people to get right with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua because this devil is coming down with great wrath, Jake just looks at us and scoffs like, yeah, whatever. I got a life to live. They don't take us serious. And it reads, it says, for the day should come upon thee that thy enemies should cast a trench about thee and compass thee round and keep thee in on every side. Meaning they're going to surround your hoods and they're going to barricade you in. All right, you're going to need certain credentialing to get out to a safe place, so to speak. And they shall lay thee even with the ground and thy children within thee. And they should not leave in thee one stone upon another because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. So they're going to come on you suddenly and they're going to roll on the tribes, man. They're going to roll on our own people. But you tribes are going to be the primary target. When they're going to roll on you, it's going to be abrupt, unexpected. You know, one day, 4 o'clock in the morning, you hear your door flying off and it wakes you up out of your sleep. Before you know, you're being bum-rushed with a gun to your head, thrown in the back of a black van, shipping off to the nearest detention center. And they may just dead you right on the spot. All right, because they don't really give a shit. This dude, Trump, he's about making a statement. They'll just dead you on the spot, man. 2nd Ezra 15. And I'm going to start at verses 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people should stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. Civil war. For there should be sedition among men, invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able, for because of their pride, the city should be troubled, and houses should be destroyed, and men should be afraid. Yep. And a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of lack of bread and great tribulation. So, yeah, man, we're getting ready to see a whole turn of a spirit out here, man, and things is going to take a turn for the worse. with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you're edified. Until the next lesson. Shalom.